Hey, all my awesome fuzzbuds out there, and welcome to another episode of the show that lets you hear some amazing stories from all kinds of fursuiters from all over the furry fandom. Now, my guest on this particular episode not only happens to be another friend of mine from here in the Houston area, but he also happens to be one big, fluffy, lovable, and huggable brown vulpine. And in addition, he has the distinct honor of being one of the first ever people that I ever got in contact with when I first joined the furry fandom so many years ago. Who am I talking about? Well, you're about to find out in about, let's make it now.
It has to be said that behind every furry is a person. Behind every person, there's usually a story. From all walks of life and all corners of the earth, now you get to hear some of their stories. This is Up Close and Fursonal.
Ladies and gentlemen, first here he is. This is Sebastian Coco Foxy. And just for a little bit of added humor, we also have our good friends Skyro, who you saw in our previous episode, and our good friend Fritz as well, interjecting every once in a while a nice little witty comment, or perhaps even an added question for a little added mystery with our guest today. Now, if you guys saw our previous episode, how this works is we have some questions for Mr. Coco Fox here, and he is going to answer them in the most unique, fun, and most intriguing way that he can possibly muster. So, are you ready?
I am.
Alrighty, let's get to it. So, first and foremost, in the fandom, before a furry actually becomes a fursuiter, the person usually has their own idea of a character, or in this case, a fursona, before they actually turn that into a fursuit. What would you say was the spark or kind of the initial idea process that sent you down the path you're on with this guy right here?
Well, originally, I wanted to get a costume just to enjoy and have a little fun around with kids and all. I didn't have any idea of being a furry at the time, so I started looking around, and this is about around 2007 actually. Looked on a couple of websites, and somehow I just managed to end up finding a very old fursuit maker, and I started asking questions, and from there on ended up ordering a fursuit, and all of a sudden I became liking it.
Was that an artistic liberty decision that turned it into this, or did you just come up with the idea kind of on your own?
Actually, I actually wanted to do this for an entertainment business back then, so it kind of came into play on my own.
Okay. And on the subject of fursuits, they are usually a big goal for a lot of furries nowadays. They want to get a suit because, you know, they're fluffy, they're huggable, they're adorable, they have all kinds of awesome expressions. But they are a very expensive proposition for a lot of furries as well, and they do cost quite a lot of money, as I'm sure both you and I know. Did you have a specific reason, and I know you touched on this earlier, but did you have a specific reason why you actually wanted to be a suitor, like a very specific reason, or was it just kind of a broad deal?
It actually helps for being a suitor, because I wanted to express myself more, and I was shy many times in the past, and becoming a suitor actually helped me bring myself out more. I'm able to talk, well, I can talk to anybody without the suit, but it helped me, break my shyness, and I can do performance without feeling scared. Now, I can do it without the suit and still be fine.
And I think that's a thing that a lot of furries face nowadays is there is a little bit of social anxiety that floats around in the fandom every once in a while. And obviously, what you just said, you experienced that a little bit. I mean, was the suit the main kind of breaking deal? Like it actually was the main deal that helped bring you into a more social aspect? Or would you say there was a little more to it than that?
It helped me in the social aspect.
That's good.
It did.
And that's definitely a good thing. I mean, if the suit can help you not only just to express yourself, just who you are, but kind of break you in a social aspect as well, I think that's also definitely an excellent anything for anyone. Now, this is version 3.0, as we discussed earlier. So this is the newest version of him. You've had a couple versions before. And on that subject, there are a lot of fursuit makers that are out there. A lot of amateur ones, some like yours, MadeFurYou, who have taken it to a more professional level and have actually made a career out of it, where they can actually live off of doing that. What was it about MadeFurYou that stood out to you when you actually picked them to create him again?
Pretty much, I just looked at their suits. It actually started back around 2010 or 2011 when I started looking, and I met a friend who is a MadeFurYou suitor. I really liked the suit, even though it was really old, but it was still really good. And I really wanted to get one, so I decided to go ahead and get a partial, which ended up becoming version 2 of Sebastian. And from there on, like, I just wanted to continue on. I wanted to even upgrade more, so I ended up getting version 2, which is right now, which I really love. It's awesome.
Yeah. And you say your suit is awesome, and there are obviously a lot of features that he has, especially the face and all that stuff. That being the newest part of your suit. Of all of the things that your suit actually has, what would you say is your favorite out of everything?
The follow me eyes, the Toonie follow me eyes. They're just like freaking amazing. I can like look at a camera and turn away. I'm still looking at the camera. That's like the biggest feature that I always wanted, and I love it.
That's because you had realistic eyes on your previous MadeFurYou head. Which that must have been a little bit more difficult, and obviously didn't have the same effect that these do now.
No, it was about the same. It's just that the eyes were really smaller, so you really couldn't see it if you took a picture. But it had the same effect.
Okay. And if Cyber, the owner and creator of MadeFurYou suits, if she ended up actually watching this, would you say that there is anything about the suit, this newer one in particular, would you say that there's anything that she could improve on or that could be improved upon for future suits that she could be making?
Honestly, she has improved from version 2, which I got back in 2012, from version 3, which I got last year, which was 2015. Seeing that is already an improvement to me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's already improved.
No, absolutely. And it's great to see how a suitor can change. I know our friend Arrow in our last episode actually said it's awesome to see how suit makers change from where they were several years ago to how they are now. And obviously Cyber has come quite a long way, because I've seen some of her suits from back, 2010 or so.
2008.
Yeah, just much older, and the way they're coming now is just insane. But going back to a subject that we were actually touching on earlier, did you find that your original goal of being a suitor, you said you wanted to entertain kids and be kind of an entertainer of sorts. Did you find that goal actually changed from when you wanted to be a fursuiter to when you actually became one?
Oh yeah, it did change. It went from wanting to entertain kids to dancing to raving to taking tons of pictures to making videos, all kinds of stuff. Even going out bowling or fursuit in a park or something like that. And it's awesome.
Absolutely. Now, one of the other things that seems to be a thing with fursuiters is they have a character. They give their character more character, if that makes any sense. When they get into suit, they have a certain personality that they take on to bring the character to life a little bit more. When you actually get into suit, do you find that your personality changes, or do you kind of stay the same guy from when you're out of suit to when you're actually in the suit?
That's a very good question. I actually stay the same. I feel the same way. I act a little bit dirty, but I do it the same in the suit I do it in real life. Just how I am. Fuck.
No, it's okay. You're that's actually perfectly good, because you're actually the first person, or one of the first people that I've actually heard say that, because a lot of times, somebody wants to act a little bit differently, or they want to act more, if someone has a female character, they want to act more feminine, or if they have a male character, they want to act a little bit more masculine.
Right.
They may use different voices, but that's actually really cool that you just stay the same across the board. Like the suit really doesn't bring out any different personalities. I mean, derpiness is always funny, though. It is always a funny aspect to have. So
I got a question for you, though. Because you said that you wanted to perform a little bit. Did you find that once you got the suit, it gave you more confidence to perform?
It did.
Yeah. How fast did you notice that change? Did it become immediate, or did you have to go out a few times in suit to really feel that confidence building? Just tell us a little bit.
I actually, it did take a little while. It wasn't immediately. It took a while. Because if you started off for the very first time, let's say for example the dance competition, and or whatever con, you go on stage, you're still gonna feel that stage fright if you have it.
Go ahead.
But yeah, it takes a little while. Even I'm still stage fright. Prime example. No.
But overall, it's just being able to go out in suit and feeling that you don't have to be perfect, and the confidence that it gives you helped you perform and helped you get to a better level,
right.
And where you felt even more comfortable out of suit, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the dance competition, which does happen at conventions, and moving on to the subject of conventions, they can definitely be a big experience for any suitor, but especially for ones that are just starting out. Maybe it's their first time fursuiting, first time actually being in a con, in suit, what have you. I call them just novice suitors, to be polite. What was it like for you when you put on your suit and went fursuiting for the first time at a convention specifically?
I felt death. I felt nothing but 105 degrees of death.
Well, that is a pretty legitimate explanation.
Is that because it's hot or something? It's like
Not for you. Not for you.
Not for you.
Not for you.
You're good.
no,
Fair.
I mean for you.
Well, yeah, if you had a full body suit, that's completely
I have
dark.
full body.
You had a blue suit. I had a brown suit. It was darker.
Blue still absorbs sunlight. Dark blue, of course.
Still, though, I mean, being in a full suit is basically like walking around in a giant shag carpet, as a lot of people have called it, which is, it is extraordinarily hot. Both of us can attest to that, and even those in the peanut gallery can also say the same thing. And also sticking to the subject of conventions, however, fursuiters in particular are big magnets for people with cameras, and it's all over a convention. People got phones, they got video cameras, they got big DSLR cameras, all that kind of stuff, documenting the convention as much as possible. And being the fact that fursuiters are the more visual aspect of the fandom at any convention, they're the ones that the cameras seem to be pointed at the most. How comfortable of a person would you say you are when you're in front of the camera?
I don't know. Couldn't be that shy, will I? I'm really comfortable. I love pictures. I love videos. In suit, out of suit, I don't care. It's amazing. Lots of pictures. Please. Give me pictures. Pictures.
We have a camera whore in the building, everybody.
Oh.
Oh man, and that's the great thing is that also the camera allows people to see the more humorous side of the fandom, because sometimes when a lens is pointed at a fursuiter, you never know what you're going to get, which is awesome. But also on the subject of cameras, and this one may seem a little personal, but it is a very prominent subject in the fandom, is of course the media. The media has given the fandom quite a lot of black eyes over the years, but we've also had some very good ones springing up. Actually, specifically recently, there's been quite an uprising of a lot more positive media coverage of the fandom. And they do focus more on the fursuiting aspect rather than just furries in general. Rather than just stick any person in front of the camera, they'd rather focus on somebody that's in a giant fluffy costume of some kind. The main question I have is, what is your take on how the media has been portraying the fandom in recent times?
That's a very tough question, because the media could look at you and be, oh, fursuiter, this is cute. What do you do? A little tame. And so on, so on. Or you might have the bad side of the media that try to betray and just make, your life just miserable, or make the whole fandom miserable. My true take on it, it's not that bad, but I wish it would show more of the good side, like show what an Anthropon like Uncle Kage would say during his stories and stuff like that. Show more of that side. Show, what it truly means to be a furry. What it truly means to put on this 105-degree carpet almost every day at a convention just to make someone smile.
Well, I mean, that's actually one of the better explanations I've heard out of a lot of people, because, a lot of people say, oh, I just wish they would stop the bad stuff and do more of the good. But, I mean, when you put it in that perspective, there's definitely a lot more good than there is bad to actually report on. Unfortunately, it just seems like a lot of people focus on the negative stuff nowadays, which I'm in full agreement. I think more positivity and more of the happier and more positive side of the fandom really needs to shine and be shown. And I've seen a lot of it. I'm sure you have too as well.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing a lot of more positive stuff that's been coming out of different media outlets these days. But wrapping all of this up and ending it on a positive note, you've been in Suit for quite a long time. You've been in Suit since what, 2009,
actually.
Wow, that's 7 going on 8 years now as a suitor. So you've had a lot of times, a lot of conventions, a lot of meets, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But of all the times you've had as a suitor, what would you say is actually your all-time, out of everything you've ever done, your all-time favorite moment that you've ever experienced in Suit?
Me and one of my best friends, we both went in Suit. This is time I have version 2. And we went to this big, huge park here in the city. And it was just me and him. He had his GoPro. And we just roamed around the park, and we just started, entertaining kids, and people were taking pictures. And we was literally making everybody smile. Even though it was really hot, don't mind me.
I'm assuming you did that in the middle of summer by the way you describe it.
Still fun. It was really fun. That was probably the best memory, just being out with one of your really good friends and just go out and just make everybody smile.
Well, that's definitely a wonderful experience to share, no less. So, in the end, you've shared quite a lot with us in your many years of suiting experiences and whatnot. And in the end, a big thanks goes out to you for stepping in and being a guest here on the show. So it's been awesome to have you. But as our way of saying thank you, at the end of the show, if you didn't watch our last episode, you get to do some of your own personal shout-outs. So if you have anybody out there that you want to just say hi to or send a quick shout to, this is your time. So take it away.
2 people I'd like to give a shout-out to. One of my roommates from MFF. Erica! I miss you. Also, Diggy /Boost. You did awesome at MFF dance competition, man. I love you. Love you, man. Love you.
Gotta have some love for the dancer fam, eh? But after all of that, I mean, we've learned a lot about you. I'm sure a lot of other people have. But if you guys want to learn more about Sebastian, perhaps have some questions of your own that you didn't get to hear about in this particular episode, you can direct them straight to him and also follow his adventures and see more pictures and whatnot on his Twitter, which I have included in the description box below. And also, if you are intrigued by what you see with MadeFurYou, and I'm assuming a good few of you probably are at this point, I've also included the link to their website, which also includes their Twitter, in the description box below as well, so you can find out how to get your hands on a beautiful MadeFurYou creation like what you see here. But that about wraps it up for this episode of Up Close and Fursonal. From the news desk here in Houston, Texas, this has been Sakura Raverhound and
Sebastian Coco Foxy.
And we will see you guys at the next convention, the next fur meet, or we will just see you around town.